My name is Virginia Stoimanoff, and I have the honor this year to address you as the President of the Canadian Macedonian Historical Society. I welcome you tonight to hear a very interesting lecture, and I would like to introduce our Director in charge of lectures, Macedonka Solokov. And she'll tell you a little bit more in a minute, and she will introduce our lecturer. But first, I'd like to briefly mention some of our planned events. Through the generous efforts of our own Paul Christie, we're raffling off 12 seats for the Sky Dome Skybox. And for only a $10 donation to the Society, your name will be entered for a chance at 2 seats. And the first draw of 6 draws will take place tonight. So if you haven't got your tickets in, please buy them now, and at the end of the evening we'll draw for the first 2 seats. Chances are better on the first draw because there aren't as many people in. The other event is Nikki Alexou has a very exciting event planned for November for our annual fundraiser. And it's a Macedonian Koleda costume ball. And that'll be held on Saturday, November the 9th. There will be prizes for the best costume. More information will be forthcoming, so start thinking now of a good costume and keep the date in mind. And now I call on Macedonka Solokov.
Благодаря. Јас ќе ви зборам малку на македонски. Денес имаме чест, имаме гостин, предавач, доктор Gradimir Zdravković. Тој ќе ни предава за македонската народна медицина низ вековите. Исто така со него тој има донесено уште еден доктор Vladimir Vuksan, уште еден доктор, така да ќе имаме интересна вечер. Now I'd like to say it in English that we're having tonight a guest speaker, Dr. Gradimir Zdravković, and he's going to talk about the Macedonian national medicine throughout the centuries. We also have another speaker that Dr. Zdravković has brought, Dr. Vladimir Vuksan. Well, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you. I want to thank to Historical Society for this invitation, and I feel very proud that I have a chance to talk with you, to change my opinion, and hopefully, as I saw before this meeting, lots of our people knows too much about herbal medicine, about folk medicine, and I'll enjoy in our discussion after my presentation. And I wanna also thanks to Dr. Professor Vladimir Vuksan, who is professor of Toronto, University of Toronto, for his presence here, and he will take his part in our discussion too. And what I want to say right now, I'll talk English and Macedonian because of some members here, and I feel very proud when I'm talking about folk experience of folk medicine in Macedonian population, because I am working more than 20 years in that field. And if you are talking about experience in medicine, I can start directly from Alexander Makedonsky, but it will be last part of our discussion tonight. Let me start, let's say, with Tsepenkov. I hope you know who is he. He is a fantastic man who made, let's say, education and some prevention through niz nekoji makedonski narodni zborovi, let's say, koji si krade od sonot, si krade od vekot. Or maybe another one, also very, very interesting to me. It's vinoto go pravi čoveka i vezir i rezir. You know, you can be really powerful guy in one moment, but after that you can make just different side of, dark side of our drinking. Or maybe another one, let's say, ne jadi soleno, soleno zboruvaj. Do you understand that? I don't think so that I'll find good translation in English. But, yeah, but I hope you understand that. And it was one project we did when I was in Macedonia, and we made one exhibition in Zagreb, in Croatia, and I have, fortunately, I have just one document about that, which I brought from there, and I wanna show it to you. The title of that article in Croatian most popular newspaper named Vjesnik was "Iju glava, Ivo nozete." What does it mean? When I started with this project, like exhibition, because lots of Macedonian very good painters made posters, you know, and I think it would be a great idea if we try to do something like that here too. Той на еден постер стоеше кој нема во главата, си има во нозете. И I have to describe that because it was very funny. Тоа беше слика по која што еден човек со глава, која што е TV, телевизор, го шета мозокот пред себе како да е кученица. But anyway, we made so good presentation there that after that group of those authors, they were guests of Health World Organization in Geneva. Така да јас, кога би зборел за искуство во лекување, народно лекување во Македонија, би можел да тргнам од народна филозофија. Затоа што паметен народ има паметни приказни, сказки и своја историја во која што ја покажува мудроста на тој народ. За среќа, од друга страна, македонскиот народ ја има црквата, Ohridската архиепископија, која што била на исток дури до Смедерово, тоа е многу близко до Белград, и на запад дури во Црна Гора, и тие граници на Ohridска архиепископија дале многу креативни писатели, slikari i edukacija na narod, za koja I can talk about that all this night. But I just wanna tell you some facts about Ohrid Archiepiscopi. First one, as I mentioned in my previous presentation, and I don't know, do we have enough time tonight to talk about that, but it was white cane, as you know, which we have in Sveti Nikita Goltarot crkvata, nastanато во 12. век, а 1815 швајцарците тврдат дека they find white cane like a symbol for blind people, which is not absolutely true. And I had big discussion in Paris, where I was with that movie, and that movie was one of 10 best maiden scientific projects in that period. And another one, also very interesting, I hope you can see that. That's the box with the bottles. That's the medical bag, you know. And do you know that this fresco painting is made in 11th century, which means 8 centuries before Paracelsus, who was Austrian scientist and who claimed that he found a dosis. Paracelsus твърди дека тој ја пронашол дозата. А на оваа фреска, let me explain you what does it mean doses. If you have just one pill, it's 500 milligram dose, you know? Or if you have any other medication, it must be how many times which dose you have to use for that day. It means that in that period, because we had only herbal medicine, dose was just a spoon. На некои medications и ден денеска вие имате спун како доза, нели? И во овие bottles овдека што се гледат, ќе видите дека тоа се шишенца, тоа е во десната рака, а во левата рака, за жал, не се гледа цела спун, али тоа е дрвена лажица. Дрвена лажица во која што се става тие сите medications. And now we have just upside down situation in medical history, and it was a part of my discussion in Paris that dose is coming from Ohrid Archiepiscopi. 800 years and more before Paracelsus claimed that he found a dose, and he is one of the people who is the, let's say, brave and light man like this light is in medical history. Јас ова ќе го дадам сега да оди од маса на маса и да го погледнете убаво сите. За историја на употреба на herbs во Македонија и во Охридска архиепископија зборуваат многу други fresco paintings from that period, you know. I have to show you just these poppy heads. We call them afio. Poppies, yeah. Poppies head. Eve ги тука се. And it's from Kurbinovo monastery. It's end of 12th century. It means that our people knew what does it mean for healing, and they use that in everyday medicine. Please again. Let me show you few more fresco paintings, just like a support of in my discussion about development of knowledge and folk medicine in everyday life of Macedonian population. This one is talking about one infection. As you can see that. Can you see that? Yeah. Then, I don't want to comment that. You know that for sure that is coming from Lesnovo monastery. And you can see father and son. Yeah, they have variola vera. That's very, very contagious infection. And it means that this is just one detail of that fresco painting in which, believe or not, we have first quarantine. You know? Quarantine. Because before that we had lazaret. It means quarantine, but it was just on opposite side of Venice Republic, and it's named by one island named Saint Lazare. And because of that it was lazaret, but you know, people were, they were together on that lazaret, they made contacts between them, и тоа не е прав карантин. Прав карантин го имате тука, во Лесново монастири, кај што имате луѓе издвоени во една купола, сите со сипаница, а на друга страна имате луѓе кои што свират на гитара, пијат вино и јадат, исто нацртани, на истата таа слика. Само за да покажат како вие се болни, а другите се здрави. Let me show you just really briefly this one, Sveti Damian or Saint Damian. Can you see what is this? Scalpel. Can you believe that? Can you believe that? It's in 13th century, when all Europe was in Varvar dark life. Nobody knew even about medicine, about eating with a knife and with a fork. And we have one fresco painting, Svadba Vukani, кај што можете да видите вилушка и нож и тањир ставени на маса, и тоа е 1328 направена фреска. Во исто време, во Брисел, Карло Велики е нацртан како со рацете ја расчеречува свињата. Тоа е знак дека воопшто не знаеле за nož i za viluška, a za tanjiri da ne zborujem. Jaz imam ušte nekoj tuka takvi freski, ali tije uglavnom zboruvat na ista tema. Ja samo kevi gi pokažem. Evo gi, tuka je Sveti Pantelejmon, koji vo rakata. Ja drži tije dva skalpeli. To treba da, za žal nekoj freski ne se dobro poradi godinite, ne se dobro napravljeno. And here is Saint Panteleimon. It's also in 12th century with first doctor bag in his left hand. Well, we have lots of artists. One of them is Mihail and Evtihij. And we can recognize them because usually one is painting one side of the church, the other one is painting the other side of the church. And we call that priprata. When they meet each other just on the main door of the church, then you can see differences in the color. You know? One was with the painter with the light colors, the other one was very strong and with really Macedonian red color. You know, if somebody is talking about Macedonia, you know, and if you see some anemic, nekoja anemična, ne mnogo jaka, crvena boja, znajte дека on, crvena boja je odraz na sonce, na patliđan, na život. Ja, i tako da to je dominira vo slikike kaj što se pravi. Od druga strana ima, I don't know, we really don't know his name, but we call him painter of Markoviot Manastir, because there is near Skopje, painter who made all that monastery with specific colors and with specific style, you know. And there are also few others painters, but usually they were students of Mihail and Evtihij. Then we have right now enough information, and you will see on the end, this presentation is just my try of Professor Vuksan to make first contact with the people like you are, people who can help us to find right approach, because we have lots of information. As far as I know, like Odyssey and some other people here, they have also lots of information about that period in Macedonia, and we need support. We need your knowledge, because once upon a time, genius was Alexander the Great. Today, genius is group of people. Only if you are working in a team, like a team, we can do something in the future. I don't know how. 8:30. I think that time will kill us. Do we have? Great. Thank you. Let me talk in my tonight discussion about herbs in about herb remedies in Macedonian population, heritage, and everyday medicine. As far as I know, we have, now somebody must help me. We have verba. Do you know translation for?
Possible.
Yeah.
Possi? Possible. Okay. Then let me tell verba just, okay? You will understand me what I'm talking about. We have Zdravković.
Yeah. Zdravković.
Do you know, when I came very first time here in Toronto, it's very funny, but I met some guys who are from Bulgaria, some guys who were from Greek part of Macedonia, you know, and I met another lady. Do you know, I started to work as I start to sell bread in open window bakery, you know, yeah, in Scarborough Town Center. Because I came here and yeah, bravo. Yeah, that's the Zdravković.
Zdravje za zdravje.
Da. And one lady asked me where I'm coming from, and I told her I'm coming from Macedonia. And he told me, oh, I have boyfriend. But you know what his problem is? I don't know what the problem is. My English was totally bad, and I understood her very poor, you know, but I was interested what's going on, why she's talking about that guy. And she told me, when we are in company with some people who don't know him, he will say that he's from Macedonia. When we are in some restaurant in Dunford Street, he claimed that he is a Greek. Oh, I told to her, don't worry about that. Just ask him, does he knows about Zdravković? Because there is not a family, Macedonian family, all Macedonian family grows Zdravković. Oni go rasna zato što veruva. Do you know what's the Latin name of Zdravković?
Imao da se evo najnavta bavča, koliko sakaš.
Absolutely, I have it my too.
I have fields.
Yeah.
Ne znam malo.
This one is named, yeah, that's true. But you know, there is not Macedonian family without Zdravković.
Ima je luk.
Yeah,
Luk.
Bear. So, Folium pelagrinum. There is no any connection. I don't want to even think that I'm talking about something important. But do you know what does it mean, pela? Sure. Do you know that this Folium pelagrinum, this Zdravković is fine. You know who told me? Do you know who told me about Zdravković? There is one fantastic man. I met him 5 years ago in Skopje. His name is Molnar. And he made a book about one place in Afghanistan with Macedonian people and population. And when he was talking to me about that, because he is really adventurous, you know, because he made miracles, I didn't believe. Well, I believed to him because we are very close friends, you know, because I was also climber. I used to go with Macedonian expeditions, you know, and I was a doctor in Macedonian expeditions. I used to well, that's the way how I find all those fresco paintings, you know. In my life, unfortunately, I had three main occupations. First was my climbing, second one was my writing, and third one, nije sme kolegi, novinari, dvajcata, and third was just my I finished medical school and I'm unfortunately medical doctor.
Just a doctor.
Yeah, because my opinion is that official medicine already lost her authority. You know, official medicine can't do anything with 5 main problems in this world. With full respect to Professor Vuksan. First one is AIDS. Second one is cardiovascular diseases. Third one is diabetes. You know? Fourth one is stroke. Fifth one is, let's say, anything you want. Official medicine don't do anything right now in medicine. It depends of technology, and they can make perfect X-ray or anything else in diagnosis, but in therapy we are too late. And because of that, people started again. Herb medicine is growing very fast. Alternative medicine is growing very fast right now. I'm working like acupuncturist. I was visiting professor in Lyndhurst Hospital, which is spinal cord, well, hospital for spinal cord injuries. And I can tell you, nothing can help to those guys. Sometimes acupuncture is very good, but official medicine has no answer on many of our today problems. And because of that, I think that in Hunza Valley, that's the name of that place, and name of that temple is Kalesh Temple. Can you believe that? Kalesh Temple in Afghanistan with two symbols. One was Zdravković and another one was Macedonian sun. And when Mr. Molnar told me about that, I was just surprised. But let's say 10 years after that, it was 2 years ago, another person, and I have his book, and I hope you have that book too, this one. Have you ever seen this book before?
What's the title?
Title is In Search of the Macedonians of Pakistan. Have you ever seen this book?
Wasn't it here when
Sure.
we had the lecture?
Michael Dimitri.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you can see here Zdravković, which is main symbol in that Kalesh temple. It's here. And I think that, like Zdravković in the garden, every Macedonian must find this one book. Because this guy was there and he spent, let's say, 1 month with those people there. And I believe to him when he said that Macedonians are there, because it was last point, Hunza Valley was last point of army of Macedonia, Alexander the Great. Така да, кога кажувам за врба, за Zdravković, јас мора да речам и за Босилок.
Basil.
Yeah, or basil. Years ago, I met Archimandritot Mihail. You know who are archimandrits? Those are, oni se naši svešteni lica od Ohridska arhiepiskopija, koji što pominale jedan period na Sveta Gora, na Hilendar. Povraćanje od tamo ti je dobivat zvanje na arhimandrit. Arhimandritot dedo Mihail od Lesnovskijot manastir beše, Bog da go prosti, beše jedan od golemi luđe, on zboruvaše 4 jazici, imaše završeno 3 fakulteti i ja si imam golemo iskustvo, ja sam nego pominav skoro 2 nedeli, ja bih vo Lesnovskijot manastir, pominav 2 nedeli i on mene mi kažuvaše za narodna medicina i mi kažuvaše mnogu za bosilo. Tako da, vi znajete, ako stavite jedan bosilok vo voda, ta voda ne se zamatuva 40 dena. Ako stavite voda samo, bez bosilok, ta voda za 40 dena počnula da mirisa i se raspađa. Toj mene mi kaže jedna mnogo važna informacija. Mi kaže deka svetite besrebrenici Damjan i Kuzma, koji što se so skalpel nacrtani i koji što gi lekuvat i gi sečat zatrujeni rani, mi kaže deka tije skalpeli nivni, let's say if they made any surgery, they put in the bags with water together so bosilok. It means they use that like antiseptic, like good, very good disinfection. No? And that's the reason why he also told me, can you imagine how our people in those onivnite gradini, vo gardens, go sadat bosilokot. Bosilokot, sekogar se sadi, se stava tuka okolo. A u sredina se stavat patličan, piperki i sve. Do you know why? Zato što nijedan insekt ne može da pomine ni s korenja, niti odozgora. Well, I can talk about my imagination, about medicine a lot of this night, but I want to introduce with something basil.
Basil.
Bosilok. Bosilok, basil.
Yeah. Yeah, but let me talk about one project. Actually, let me invite Professor Vuksan to take a part in our discussion.
And it's always fascinating hearing you again with Dr. Grado presentation. And I want to thank to Dr. Grado inviting me tonight. And also I want to say that I'm honored to be in position to talk to this reputable society. And I guess what we want to talk today about is another project that we trying to introduce through I have to speak loudly. Yeah, okay. I can't speak loudly. I need some Zdravković. Where I wanted to talk about medicine and way of treatment, and whenever I start talking about medical ways of treating people or preventing disease, as we do in Toronto, to say, they would start to talk about herbs and the way how they treat. And they would take me to the hospital, and you will have a herbal hospital, and next door will be just classical hospital. In one hospital will be little building, this hospital that we have in Toronto type of, and another one will be huge building with much more people. So people there believe in herbs. So we spent some time, I would go to historian archives of theirs, and we would go through documents, and obviously with the translator, and be able to read this Chinese, because Chinese letters and language is the same as it was 4,000 years ago or more than this. And we went through documents, and we would find documents stating that Chinese were trading with the West much earlier than we thought. And the documents that I've seen there were from 400 years BC, which was much earlier than famous Silk Road has started, where Chinese will sell their big secret in producing silk to Romans. So that would be, I believe, 150 years BC, before Christ. In these documents, you can find exactly the list of what they've been trading and the time, and who would carry this, and how many mules and camels they would use, and what they would send, etc. But what was surprise to me was that the most what they sold to the West were herbs. What was another surprise is that the first client, the first customer, was Alexander the Great. And the first users were soldiers, Macedonian soldiers. They didn't state it exactly the name of the Alexander the Great, but they would, in Chinese language, express this as a foreigner, as Western, and whatnot. And they would, what we will do then with Dr. Grado later on, having some of these documents, and we are now working to get more, which is very hard because they don't want necessarily to share some of their historic documents. We would try to work the shipment, the date, and the presence, because at the beginning I didn't know who was at this certain distance from China, because all the roads from China, trade roads, will cross in this province. This is one of the richest provinces, close to border with India, and then later on Silk Road will continue. So that was prior to the Silk Road, which we discovered later they would call Herbal Road, and will send all these herbs being collected all around China. And so what we will do in the document, you will have stated exactly how long time will take them to go, and we know later on from history when Silk Road was established and more described, that the trip later, when they were more, maybe had more horses and whatnot, probably faster, that will take them 13 months to travel to Rome. That was just in front of the Rome, in one small village they will sell silk to the Romans. When you would work time, because it was precisely stated when the shipment leaves Chengdu and when it will arrive to the place of order, and we'll calculate, and just by working with Dr. Grado, we'll find out that the distance, if you have that many miles from Chengdu to Rome, in 13 months, then in 6 months, 7 months, you will reach Koza Valley, for example, at the time when Alexander Makedonsky will be there. And then from the recipe, that was the harder part, From the recipe they would send them, and there would be herbs and there would be honey, and they would be on the list, but mainly herbs, honey, and raw jelly, and some cereals will be sent over. From the recipe, we tried to work out what would be the dose taken by these people, because they would give you exactly how you mix, and with what they would send, or they would advise you to take juices with juice, or and they would say in morning juice, during the day other way. If you're interested, we can talk about this. And in the evening with some kind of alcohol.
And we are in dilemma because if we divide that on 5,000
Yeah.
it will be different than
Yeah,
30.
yeah. There was a problem because at the time that we had more clear data, Alexander the Great had ex-soldiers and ex-people on horses and all these. So our question was whether people on horses will take just these mixtures, because that was what we are talking about is over 20 herbs in mixture. They would take with what I mentioned before, herbs or honey. Oh, sorry, juices, orange juice or honey, and they would if they would take this as prescribed, that could be taken by all the members of the army. So whether the soldiers, whatever they have categories, I'm not familiar with this, would take more, others would take less. But according to recipe, they should take all. And then we'll work those out, and I don't want to take your time too long. And now we are at a stage where we came up with a dose that we think that works based on this calculation, based on Chinese experience that are still present. I mean, they still use the same way, herbs. And based on some preliminary testing that we did at the University of Toronto, and we are planning to do study in China, where it's less expensive for us, in elderly, with this dose. And for this purpose, we made few products. I think Dr. Grado has some for brave people to try. But you know, when I met it, and I'll ask Dr. Grado to explain. When I met Dr. Grado, I asked him, I didn't know that was Alexander, and I asked him what he thinks, being historian in medicine. Sure. And then he started investigating, and he came up with some of the evidences that maybe he can describe to you what would be background.
As you know, we have information about Alexander Macedonsky, Alexander the Great, that he was born 370 BC, before the Christ year, and actually 356. That's the right year. But I made connection with his professor, his teacher, Aristotle, who was a fellow pupil with Theophrastus. And Theophrastus made first, but really first, book about herbal medicine, and it was 370 year BC. And because in that period, as you know, schools were just with a few pupils. One of them was Aristotle, one of them was Theophrastus, and teacher of them was Platon. It means they were pupil of Platon. And you know that, let's say, 500 years BC, first father, we called him father of medicine, and his name is Hippocrates, you know. First comment about Hippocrates, scientific view, was also from some Platon's knowledge and discussions. And it means that to find that connection between all of them, and as you know, Aristotle comes from Athena to Pella, and he started to teach Alexander the Great when he was 14 years old guy. and he was his teacher next 7 years. And we have information, I have information, and it will be discussion because I respect this group of people, and this is right place to discuss about that and to have your opinion and to have your knowledge to support our view, our approach, and we will accept that. That's the reason why I want to start very soon with discussion, and I want to note everything you say to me, you know. But our knowledge about Aleksandar Makedonski je to дека тој не бил само освојувач, тој бил голем истражувач. Каде и да одел, тој му пишувал писма на Аристотел. Он бил во стална комуникација со Аристотел. Вие ја знаете заблудата на Александар Македонски, која не е заблуда, него можете да замислите. Он доаѓа на Инд, на реката, и неговите војници се бањат во реката, за да се освежат, и налетуваат на крокодили. И поради тоа Александар Македонски смета дека тој се наоѓа некаде на реката Нил, пошто единствен пат во живот он крокодили сретнал во Нил. И поради тоа он оди низ реката Нил надолу, али он за сето тоа пишува на Аристотел и он прва свила ја праќа на мајка му, која се викала Олимпијада, не? Олимпија. To be honest with you, I don't like her very much.
I can't understand why.
It's very easy, because I don't think that Alexander Makedonski died from malaria in Alexandria. Because last contact of Alexander Makedonski was with his mother. Така ја мислам дека он е отруен, али ова не го снимај. Да, али она што ние најдовме, тоа е дека војска на Александар Македонски. Голема дилема е, дали тоа го јаделе 5000 души што биле само кавалерија, коњица, што биле на коњи, или ги јаделе сите војници, ама се знае дека они во Коринт, слушајте добро, стигнале за 10 дена и поминале 500 километри за 10 дена. Тоа е, верувале или не, 50 километри на ден, што не може да ја направи најсовремено опремена војска на НАТО пакт. Тоа значи дека они морале да имат екстракти и некои herbs кои што делувале фантастично, like power bar or power drink. Да, стероиди. Да, тоа современо време. By the way, let me tell you something very honestly. Do you know why chicken breast is so expensive and wings? Zato што тамо не стават инекции со стероиди. Тие ги стават тука. И зато ќе купите кило chicken legs or chicken quarters за 69 центи, али никогаш chicken breast. Да. И сега, кога гледаме од ова точка на гледање, значи што може да биде, што ние немаме, тоа бил период кога немало многу податоци. За несреќа изгорела цела библиотека во Александрија. kaj što imalo, veruvali ili ne, 18.000 pergamenti, što gi pišuvale Soraka. Aleksandar Makedonski so sebi imao 40 duši, što odele samo da vodat dnevnici, da zapišuvat sve i tije izveštaji on gi praćao na Aristotel, na svoj učitelj. One of those products, with help of magic team of Professor Vuksan, which member tri člen su mi ja, I'm very proud because of that. Сега ние ви сакале да ви го представиме, да бидете дегустатори, оти ние веќе со студенти направивме едно испитување, многу позитивно, but I don't wanna talk before Professor Vuksan because he's my boss. I
don't think so anyway. I mean, I don't know. I mean, this is just part of the story. We don't want to use your time, you know what I mean, because it was a long presentation. We thought we'll bring you something tonight that you see what we do, because we are fascinating. Part of our research, main part of research, is in nutrition in our department, and we are also fascinated with the food that can bring more health and our strength or endurance. So we are involved in this type of research, and when Dr. Grada would give me information that he just shared with you about this fascinating strength and endurance of Macedonian soldiers, that was something that you can't reproduce probably with the best prepared athletes today. And we become more interested, and we would combine this in drink. Herbs there would be, some will be extracted, other will be in the powder talc form, because some are active when they are extracted, other in powder or whatnot. Combine them with some orange drinks, so who is brave from audience can try some of this. I mean, most of people survive afterwards. And then this would be one form, and then another form from the recipes that they would have received from Chinese, and we don't have evidences whether Alexander the Great Macedonsky will follow these recipes. That other way that they would take while traveling and not being able to carry too much food, especially if you have to surprise enemy and come on the place in some unpredictably short period of time. They would most likely, what we thought that they would do, follow Chinese advice, where they would mix herbs, and this is another product that we have here, little modernized. They would mix with royal jelly, or royal jelly is, I think you say nectar or honey, and make kind of tubes with little cereals, what we call in medicine, in our research, slow release carbohydrate type of cereals that you can run and walk. This is how we speculate. And then they would just punch, they could have around whatever, their hip or whatever, and they would just walk quickly and then punch part of this honey cereals mixture, which would be semi-dry, and we know how they make this in China, and they would just eat it. And basically what they will give them, just speaking simple language and not going in herbs, effect of herbs, they would just have honey, they will have energy, they will have fuel, and from the cereals they will have probably some vitamins and minerals and all these. And then looking at the properties of each of these herbs that we came across, and finding evidences in Western medicine, some of them will increase immunity, another will increase power, give endurance, etc., etc. So there will be one really magic thing which we don't believe in medicine and nutrition, but it's close to magic bullet, whatever. And this we'll try to put in the food. So now this is the food that if you want to try, you're welcome. And this is what we are planning to give on studies and see whether this really works, whether we came up with the right dose, and whether this, what we've seen in short term, will be useful in long run. And we can be frank with you. We are planning to, if this is proven, we are I don't know how many years, and if allowed us financially, we would be able to afford this. We would probably come up with something that we can offer to people who want to improve quality of life, if you will. So I mean, we're looking more little bit longer way, because we don't go with only tradition and recipe. We want to look at each herb and then mixture, which could be different effect because of the synergism or whatever. And then obviously looking from the toxicology point of view, because that would be something for chronic use for longer period of time, maybe whole life, if I find being useful. One of the proofs that we are doing reasonably good is that some of these herbs were given to Chinese athletes for the last Olympic Games. And if you remember, there was first time in history of Olympic Games that Chinese swimmer had won some medal. They found something in urine later on, but herbs that we give us are different, and we didn't find anything in urine so far. So anyway, this is what we wanted to share with you, because this is what we thought you deserve it, to be first. And we sent some herbs. There are some of the mixtures they made in China for us, but this is not in form that we give, because we take extract. One can cook this, etc. But we have this in this drink, which somebody made it for us, that we have dose. This is daily dose. Smell is okay. And we have also some bars, if you want to try.
Sure, I hope we will make now party. I need just one plate.
Yeah, I have another there. Yeah. Anyway, if you want to ask questions before
Just
we
one question. Maybe
yeah.
Grado or yourself can explain like what Alexander the Great did drink in the morning and the evening. And
Yeah, but you know that as
But
good as I
people
know.
I know that.
Just tell them, that's the part of our discussion.
Yeah,
But
we
you
will
should
know
say
that.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Well, yeah, okay, great. Well known is fact that in the morning, Alexander the Great, that in the mornings, Alexander the Great used drink with royal jelly. Do you know what does it mean? Royal jelly is different than honey. Nectar is royal jelly. A honey is made. As you know, royal means, or we call that matica. Like we call matica na iselenicite. Ja. Da. Ona žive mnogo podobno od običnite čeli. I ona se hrani so royal jelly ili so nektar. Сега, Александър Македонски на Сабајле имаше royal jelly измешан со хрб, со треви, што ги носеше од Македонија, а понатаму ги комбинираше. Една од тие треви се претпоставува дека и здраве. После тоа, после трчањето, он секој Сабајле трчал по 1 сат. После тоа он пиел джус, али тоа е навистина джус, тоа не е вино, тоа е джус of fresh grapes. znači дека пиел сок од вино.
Šire.
Шире. Шире е малку превриена. Ова е многу свеже, тогаш направено тази. И исто, они имале 3 вида направи. То правило, тоа е, се уште не можеме ние да ви кажеме све што знаеме. Ние имаме податоци за 24 треви. Од тие 24 треви, две воопшто ги нема и нормално е после 2000-3000 години да ги нема. Али, ние за сега имаме податоци од 19 треви. И ова што сме го направиле е од тие треви што ги знаеме до сега. Со мали измени внатре, значи се уште овој проект не е завршен за да можеме да разговараме. But right now two companies are very interested for this product. Yeah. And it means that in next period, if we make that, but we wanna make one healthy food line of products named Alexander the Great. Sure, absolutely. Well, I'm talking without permission of my professor, but for sure we will do that. Што значи дека ние сега вас ве покануваме да го пробате ова, да видите едно вакво парче од Power Bar, ќе ви замени цела вечера, ви гарантирам. Вечерва вие нема да чувствувате потреба да вечерате. Then take two.
No, we eat like this. Dr. Grado will shake a little bit. Shake a little.
Да не научите да го правиме, да не купуваме месо.
Well, you might do that, Roy. That's the
And he discovered he got a secret herb there.
Well, they
Especially when you're hungry.
you have to have.
That's the secret. If I tell it to you, you can. I don't think that any нашиот цел народ е доктор за ова.
We'll have more time to make because I don't know anything about it.
Is there an example of a herb that's familiar? I don't need one, but I'm just asking.
Do you need some fertility herb?
No, he doesn't. Not at all, actually. Not me.
Не трчаме като на Александър войниците. Да не трчаме много.
Да, вечер ќе биде бабата ќе бега дома.
This is really nice. It's really nice birthday.
Okay, I think I have something in my bag right now. I'll show it to you.
Oh, I just wanted to like write it for the newsletter, like just for example. You know?
Have any questions or некој да има прашање, сака нешто да го праша доктор Zdravković, ако сакате да поразговарате со него или да ни кажете нешто во врска со предавањето. Does anyone have something to say? Okay, Tony, you're first on the list.
Okay.
Go ahead.
What I'd like to know about the connection between today's medicine And you know anything about your study from the past medicine, the historical medicine, and the beliefs in spirituality and healing by spirits, buying and all this kind of healings that people are using. Because I happen to have a great grandmother. She was 115 years when she died, and she used to heal people by buying that, and also she would cure if you had a work, predates. She was doing that, and they disappeared. You know, after, like she was doing on Saturdays at night, and if you go there, she will tell you to go a couple of times, two, three times, or more if it's necessary, and it will disappear. So those kind of things put me to think about what is the scientific medicine today explaining those kind of things.
Thank you. Well, I can talk about my experience, my own experience. First of all, we didn't know till 1974 that we have endorphins. Endorphins are endogenous maiden morphines, and they are 6 times more powerful than regular morphine we take through the pills. And after 1974, I started to understand, as you call that, I don't think that there is any translation for bienni. Then I'll call that bienni.
Yeah, they call it here. My kids call it voodoo.
Voodoo. Then, I don't think that voodoo or bienni is something strange for my knowledge and my capacity of knowledge about medicine. Why? Because I saw that kids, when they have a tooth pain, they press finger here. Do you know what does it mean? This point is LI4. Yeah, LI4 in acupuncture. It means usually bienni makes something with anything you want, but one point they will press with hot stone or with some needle, or I don't know again how to call that, vreteno.
Vreteno.
Yeah, vreteno. Have you ever seen da li nekoga ste vidjeli bajenje bez vreteno? Ne. Vreteno mora da postoji i najčesto ima modification, some other modifications, ali vreteno se naslonuva na jedno mesto. I sad vi rečem nešto interesno. So, akupunktura ili akupresura na odredeni mesta, kaj što se nervni završetoci, nije gi oslobađame endorfinite. Beta endorfin go oslobodува adrenokortikotropen hormon. Pazite. Endorphins are very powerful for pain, like a painkiller, and let's say distress mechanism. ACTH or adrenocorticotrope hormone, he arise production of cortisone and corticosteroid. I tukaj je krajot na to, da li jaz možem da verujem v bajenje ili ne. Ja lično verujem. Zato što cela ta igra ima nešto što luđe to točno zna kada treba. Ja se čudem za ta gušavost. Koga gleda, deka vretenata gi pritiskuvat tuka, pa gi vrtat, pa ovdeka, pa gi vrtat, i сега, ja ne nosam knjigata, ali 6 points in acupuncture are on same place, you know, and you have 2 plus on the other side for recovering of thyroiditis.
Doctor, why is it, with all this knowledge we have, the average age is for males, what, 72 and a woman 76? Why can't a person live to be 120 or 150?
You know, actually that question I can just,
In time, maybe it will come.
I think that Mother Nature makes evolutive changing, you know? We are living right now so fast. Mother Nature, for example, made me to go 6 kilometers per hour. I drive 60 kilometers. It's 10 times faster than Mother Nature gave it to me. 100 years ago, from Macedonia to Canada, it was traveling, let's say, 5-6 months. Now you are coming for 6 hours. 100 years ago, pregnancy was 9 months. Pregnancy today is also 9 months. It's not just 9 hours. Ako majka priroda smetala дека žena treba da bude 9 sati pregnant, ona će go napraviše to. To znači дека ние правиме, we make revolutionary changing. And our adaptation is very bad, because changings are very fast. Mother nature makes evolutive changing. Ta prvo ke sozdaде uslovi, prvo ke napravi da bude sve dobro, pa ke ja napravi promena. To znači дека ние сега подолго живееме отколку пред 100 години. Ali nije во стрес, оној стрес што. Now, you can, just in one day, like we talked before, you have positive, negative stresses, you have combination of multi-stress, we call that distress. It means, ako možete, ja zašto mnogo go saka malih džigerov? On izbjegao od tuka, on izbjegao od ova civilizacija, si otišao nekad je na strana i žive fantastično. I jedan den može mi jaki otići na tamo. Da, ali sakam da vi kažem, nije živeme podolgo, će živeme ušte to podolgo. To je quality of life. I ja ne znam zašto tega treba da živeme 120 godini, ako živeme svekoj moment vo stres. A vi kad će početi ne kontrolirati od vselene. Znači, to je kvalitetno življenje, to je lifestyle. Now we try to make one healthy food line, like this one is. Točno da sozdademe jedna linijana zdrava hrana, koja što će može da go prodolži i vekotna življenje i kvalitetotna življenje. That's my answer, so far I know.
Well, the longest people, the longest livers in the world, they say are from the Balkans, right?
Yeah.
They live the longest.
Now, for example, I don't want to talk about this one bar, but we will involve traditional and very new technology, you know, in this one product. It means it will be combination of something very new, powerful, and something which we know that is very good and very healthy for anyone. Yeah. Any other question, please?
Okay, well, if there are no other questions, we should thank Dr. Gradimir Zdravković for being kind enough to come here and
give us this wonderful, wonderful information, this data that a lot of these things I've never heard about. And yet I had my high school in Skopje. Well, that goes to tell you that this is really recent, probably recent discoveries. I'd like to thank again Dr. Vladimir Zdravković. I'd like to thank Dr. Vladimir Vuksan for coming here and giving this wonderful lecture. And I hope that we can repeat this again when we have a lot of people on Sundays, one Sunday, so that everybody can hear this
that, yeah.
wonderful. Okay.
Thank you very much.
My pleasure.
Pogledajmo stajke,
Okay, now